Well, the problem is it exists, and even worse, it's ugly. Which is why in this video I'm going to redesign the car and show you step by step what BMW could have done to improve the styling of the 2 Series Gran Coupe. However, the issues aren't only in the front, the rear needs some surgery too, and you'll see both views redesigns a little later in this video. I'm not a fan of these 4-door coupes. First of all, it messes up the definition of what a coupe is. It's a 2-door car with a fixed roof if we bring it down to the bare essentials. But nowadays anything can be called a coupe, and everything is called a coupe. You have the 2 doors, you have the 4 doors, and you even have some SUVs that people like to call coupe because they have a sloping roof line. And second, I don't get who the target audience is for these types of cars. If you don't want a 2 Series because it's too small, get the 3 Series. And if you want a higher riding vehicle, you have an option of a full 7 BMW X models. The 2 Series Gran Coupe actually sits on the same platform as the BMW X1 and the X2. But what if you want a similar size to the 2 Series but with more luggage space? Well, you get a 3 Series Touring or the BMW X2. It's like they tried to fill a gap in the market that doesn't really exist. To me, these cars just dilute the brand, and especially in this case with this weird looking front wheel drive M-badged BMW. Before I show you the strange design features in detail, let's go over some of the spec and tech of the new BMW 2 Series Gran Coupe. It comes in 2 versions, the 228 with 228 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque, and the 301 horsepower M235i X-Drive Gran Coupe. 0 to 60 is 6 seconds for the 228 model and 4.6 seconds for the M235i. There is no manual option for these cars, and 8-speed auto is standard on both versions, and the top speed is limited to 151 miles per hour for the 228 and 155 for the M235i. The car has iDrive 6 with an 8.8-inch center display and standard navigation, intelligent voice control, Apple CarPlay, analog instrument dials, and a 5.1-inch portrait format instrument cluster which displays information such as the car's speed and navigation instructions. The optional BMW Live Cockpit Professional replaces the analog instruments with a digital 10.25-inch display screen with iDrive 7. You also have the optional BMW head-up display which projects information in full color onto a 9.2-inch area right in front of the driver on the windscreen. Production began in November of 2019, and we will start to see these 2 Series Gran Coupe show up at dealers in March of this year. The starting price for the 228 is $37,500 plus $995 shipping, and for the M235 it starts at $45,500 and $995 shipping there too. The new BMW 2 Series Gran Coupes come standard with power seats, and leather is standard on the M235. Ambient interior lighting is standard as well, and occupants can customize the interior lights to 6 light colors: white, bronze, orange, lilac, green, and blue, and of course adjust the brightness of the light itself. If there's one design feature I really like about this car, these cool interior lights would be it. For the USB ports, you have 2 in the front and 2 rear USB-C ports for connecting and charging your devices. And the 2 Series Gran Coupe also comes with driver assistance systems such as lane departure warnings and assistance if needed, front and rear collision warning and preparation, cross traffic warning, and active blind spot monitoring. So now let's put all of that tech behind us and talk about what really matters here, which is the design of this 2 Series Gran Coupe. So what we're going to do now, we're going to jump into Photoshop. I'm going to show you what is off with the design of the car. Both front, we're going to start with the front and then jump to the rear as well. And I'm going to show you what's wrong with it, and then we're going to fix each view. So let's do that right now and see how this is going to turn out. Alright, so here is the front view of the new BMW, and this is the M235i, the top of the range model, and BMW, what have you done? The problem that I have with these types of cars is that they are supposed to be, they are marketed as sporty four-doors that are supposed to look and feel like a two-door coupe, but in this case, this looks nowhere near as good and as dynamic as a two-door version of the same car, the 2 Series. So the problem that I have here is, first of all, the hood is way too high up. It just looks weird, and I understand that they did it because this is a front engine, or it's an X-drive, so it's four-wheel drive, but the majority of the power at most of the time goes to the front wheels, so they need more stuff under the hood. I totally get that, but what it does is just messes up the proportions of the car, and especially when you have a BMW that usually are not front-wheel drive, that means that we're not used to seeing these types of hoods on a BMW. By the way, I can't change that because that's just the technicalities of the car. It's a front-wheel drive car, so I can't really change the height of the hood and stuff like that. But what we can change are the graphics and the styling of the car to make it look more, basically more appealing than this. So the things that we're going to change, first of all, is the headlights, or the headlights here. I think this angle, it's an angle we haven't really seen from BMW. To me, these headlights, they sit too high. So what I want to do is take this corner here and bring that down here, so we have more of a horizontal line here. And there are 2 reasons for this. The main reason for that is, you see these shoulder lines here? This is another thing that I don't understand why they did it like this. You have one line going here, as you can see, and that just fades out into nothing. And then you have a second shoulder line here that starts from somewhere here, from nowhere, and then just turns into a second shoulder line which sits lower than the first one. This line here doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't connect to anything. So by bringing this corner down here, I want to connect it to the top shoulder line and only have one single shoulder line here. And that creates more of a powerful shoulder, because this looks like it has a broken shoulder now, because it just ends abruptly here, it fades into nothing, and then goes back here and starts over like a Z pattern for no reason at all. Another thing I want to change in the front here is just the epidemic of over-styling cars these days. I think this front is too messy. You have all these kind of weird plastic pieces everywhere, and what that does, it creates a lot of noise in the front. So what I want to do is clean this part up here. I want to remove this part right there and have more of a traditional M-looking graphic in the front grille here, like that, and then remove this piece of plastic that sticks out so far that you can see it even here on this, from this view here. So that's what we're gonna do now in this redesign, the front view. And then another thing I just have to talk about here is, notice how many lines they have going here on the side that builds up this massive hood. We have this line right here, then we have the second shoulder line right here, then we have another line right there, and then a 4th line, and then even a 5th line that goes up there. It's just insane how many layers of height that builds up this mass here that creates the hood. And that's one of the reasons why this BMW looks so weird, especially if you look at it from a straight side view. So let's make these changes and let's see how this is going to turn out. So for the rear view, we pretty much have the same problem that we do have with the front view when it comes to the shoulder line here. You can see that here is even more clear. We have the strong shoulder line going here that just fades in and becomes very weak here. You can't even see a definition of a line here anymore. And then it just starts here and continues in a second line down below the first one, which is very strange for BMW. Same thing here. We're going to create one single strong shoulder line up here, maybe even have a crease down here with a shadow that it goes in, something like carved into the body of the car. But for the rear graphics and styling of the car, the main issue that I have with this is it looks like the rear end of a minivan, and the reason for that is the part of the bumper here, this line sits so low to the ground that you get this minivan vibe from it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this whole bumper here, this part, and then we're going to raise it up just a few inches so that it creates more of an SUV or sedan type of bumper instead of this minivan look that we have right now. And then another thing I want to change on this are the rear lights. I don't really like this part right here. So what I'm going to do is just cut this off right here and have this part be blue, the body color, so that we have a distinct ending for the rear lights and not just something that kind of doesn't really know what to do with itself right here. I want to have more definition in here and end it right there somewhere. Same thing here. Let's get to work and let's see how the rear view is going to turn out. And there we have it. You know, I think it doesn't really need a lot to become a lot more attractive. It needs a few changes. It feels like this is a model that BMW released, and they themselves are not sure about how it's going to be received. So and I kind of feel that in the styling as well. It doesn't feel like a confident BMW design for a lot of reasons. The shoulder line being the main reason. Like, have a double shoulder line like that. I don't think I've ever seen that on a BMW before. But just adding these small changes to the car, to me at least, it makes a big difference in the appearance. Even though I'm not a big fan of these types of cars, now at least it looks confident and it looks like a BMW. Let me know what you think about these changes in the comments below. I would love to hear your opinion on this. Do you agree with me that it looks better this way, or do you prefer the original styling that BMW has? And of course, if you have any designs, any cars, any new cars coming out that you think look weird, comment below or DM me on Instagram at TheSketchMonkey. Thanks for watching. Take care. I will see you in the next video.